Because they're taking like so if we take today, for example, in 2014, or you could say like back in 2000, if this government, the BLS, if they took like a basket of goods that everyone purchased in 2000, it's probably different than 2014 because, you know, they didn't have like the iPhone 6 maybe now is going to be something that, or whatever the new technology is, it's changing, right? And so, but the problem with that is like if they change the basket, then it kind of ruins everything they had before, right? Because they have to be tracking the same products or else they can't really be able to know where inflation is. And so that's why it's saying it's one of the problems with CPI, which, you know, I think they do change the basket every once in a while, but it's not very often. But it's hard to, and like you said, the technology is completely different, right? Because this laptop that we use today didn't even exist back in 1985. So it's an imperfect way to do it, but it's just the best way that they know to do it right now. So yeah, let's maybe we can skip these ones though that are like explaining. If you say if that's all right, if you can study those later, and we can do the calculation ones so that.
Price of homes go up by 5%, price of concert tickets are up by 10%, which will have a larger impact on the CPI. Wouldn't it be the price of homes because the overall amount is bigger?
Right. Yeah, just all the dollars that people spend on homes is going to be way more than the money that they spend on concert tickets. So, yeah, or it's only going to be a fraction. Yeah. So, yep. Let's see if there's another one. Yeah, it looks like there might. This one's probably a good one, right? Okay. Suppose that you also take out or I guess that's a two-part question. So we can start with the first part because that is actually, it'll be good.
Job contract goes first. Stipulated that you receive an annual salary $93,500 plus an additional 2% over that in the second year to account for expected inflation.
Mm-hmm.
If the inflation turns out to be 3%, it'll hurt you because your expenses are rising faster than your income. Your income is not keeping up with it. If it turns out to be 1%, then you're actually getting a higher, you have more buying power.
Yeah. So like if we were going to do it in terms of these equations that we've just learned, right? So we have our base year, which is going to be, I don't know, it said over the next 2 years, so we'll just do it right now. It's like 2014, right? So our base year, then we know that CPI is going to be 100 for this year. Mm-hmm. And then in 2015, it's saying, what happens if if the inflation rate is 3%, right? Uh-huh. So then that means a CPI of 103. Mm-hmm. That's pretty easy to understand, right? Yeah. So now it's saying, what is your salary, right? So your salary we're going to try and convert them all into 2014 dollars, right? Mm-hmm. So we're saying that in 2013, your salary was 93.5. Is that what it says? 93.5. Okay, so then what, in those dollars, how much is, if there's 3% inflation rate, right? Uh-huh. I guess first they're saying that you're getting a raise, right? So I guess we have to say like, let me add a third column in here, right? So we have CPI, which we said was 100, 103. We have our, maybe we'll say so I'm going to use this word nominal versus real, right? So you have, your nominal is just going to be in whatever year's dollars that is, right? So your nominal for the first one was 393.5. For the second one, they say you get a 2% raise, right? So that would be whatever that is times 1.02. 93 is 1.02, right? So that's 95,370. Right.
1.02 would be 2%.
2% increase. So that's the raise they're giving you. So 2015, that's what your salary for the year is going to be, right? Okay. But they're saying that inflation is 103, right? So if we're converting these into real, for the base year, it's always going to be the same, right? So it's going to be 93.5. But in this year, we have to convert this into 2014 dollars using that same formula we used before, remember? So we did 103 divided by 100 times this 95,370. Is that right?
93. Oh, yes. Okay.
Is that right?
Maybe.
Let's see what that gives us. I'm pretty sure that's
103 divided by 100 times 95370
maybe that's the other way around.
equals 98,000.
No, yeah, that's right.
that's-
Sorry, I'm doing that backwards. So I guess let's see. Because, yeah, sorry, if we're trying to get it, see, so it's easy to make a mistake, like to just rely on that. So you have to kind of make sure, talk it out in your, that's how I keep track of it, is I say, okay, first of all, so I got that wrong. And I could know that, right, because you know that it should be going down.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be great. It shouldn't be more than what it is because there's inflation. So I'm going to say, okay, if I do 103 divided by 100, then I'm getting a number. Would you say what that was? That was like 1.3,
Yes.
right? Which makes sense because
Or
1.03. Yeah, 1.03. That means that that's the other way. That's the other way around of what you really want, right? Because we're trying to get it back into 2014 dollars. That's saying like
So
a dollar in 2014 is $1.03 today. So, but I'm trying to get it back so we can compare it to this
okay,
year,
so
right?
I
here.
would switch it and say 100 divided by 103.
Right. So if you do 100 divided by 103, then what do you get?
0.97.
Yeah, 0.97, which makes sense because, as the years go, the more years you go in the future, the less your money's going to be worth, right? So it's going to be, what this is saying is every dollar in 2015 was only worth 97 cents in 2014,
Mm-hmm.
right? So did you times that by this number?
I am.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. 92, 582.2.
See, and now in these real terms, we can see what's actually happening in this instance. Our wage is actually going down, right?
Okay.
And that's always going to happen when your inflation rate is higher than, it's the same with loans. Like, when the bank decides to give you a loan and they say, okay, we're going to loan it out at 3%, they're taking into account that there's going to be an inflation rate, right? But if that inflation rate is not what they think it is, they might make more money than they thought or less money. And this is illustrating that point right here because what they're saying is they were giving you a 2% raise for inflation, but that inflation was higher than that, so you're actually losing. Your salary's going down, even though it looks like you're getting a raise, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like you're getting a raise here, but your money's worth less. You could do it the other way like we were doing where we did 103 up top here, and then all we would need to do in that case is convert this into dollars that were in today's dollars. I guess, does that make sense? Why? The other way if we were doing that. So
Maybe show me how it works.
yeah,